Unmute. There we go.
Ready to get started? Get going on here. Mary, you've got the numbers up here. You want to take the floor here?
Sure. Okay, included in here, and I haven't had a chance yet to finish the numbers for our current budget, but as of this point, we are currently showing a little bit 1 million under budget with our current budget, and then with the budget request, this is what we worked on in July, and then the budget hearing information. This is what we preliminary worked on, but what I did this week so far is I've gone in and reviewed the information that Auburn has sent, and with the direction from the other department heads, I've included the pay scale rates as discussed in our budget hearings, along with what Auburn's recommendation was with the pay scale information. And with this, we're sitting at $11,639.61 under budget for 2021.
I don't think we need to include the Auburn study in this because it hasn't been approved. It's not been approved. All it is a guide or a proposal. If we don't need to include it. And I don't know why some people from the very beginning that pushed this thing is that was what it was going to be, and it's not. It was never intended to be. We never accepted, okay?
We haven't accepted, but what was the possible having done to be given?
As a guide. Oh, that was all.
But Larry, we did start as a guide, but it was to look at the overall, like our employees are very asset. We did it to look at, I mean, that's what we have the training too. I mean, we have, people that are on different pay scales, and it's that could be discriminatory. So I think that the direction is to get us all on the same page.
Well, every single person that works for the city, they accepted the job for X number of hours. Why is it that as soon as they accept this job, then they start wanting more and more and more? Like I said, it was only a guy. And we've got some 2 or 3 folks that get pushed it as that's the way it was going to be. And that's not it. That was never the intent. That's my opinion.
Well, I think, I mean, I thought it was up for discussion. And that's why we're here, to discussing the budget, so we kind of know what direction we can go in. And I think for the city, I mean, just going forward, I'd like to see us have all be on the same page. And that's just, I think that it's the kind of thing that's gonna come back upon us.
That's your opinion.
Yeah, it's
And I
my
have
opinion.
mine.
That's
We are
right.
entitled to our opinion.
That's right.
what were the alternatives to not using Auburn's? Because I didn't get any alternatives as to, we need to build a 3.5% raisin, we need to build a
We
dollar.
never
raisin.
talked about that. It was always assumed on your part that we were gonna use the Auburn thing. And that's the reason we're here now, just like Sandy said. We're here to discuss that or alternative,
Right,
you know.
We had Larry, we paid a lot. How much did we pay for that Auburn?
$27,000.
From a
$27,000.
bunch of folks that probably never had to work for a living. All they've ever done is sit up there and take on the computer. You know, they're not out here with other people,
But they did do comparisons of,
which were not good.
well, they actually, I thought their comparisons were actually very fair because they looked at the areas surrounding us. I mean, what else could we use?
Well, you use similar size, you use population, there's a lot of other things besides comparing us to Baldwin County.
Well, Bob, the reason Bob was in there is because people leave here at all. That was not fair.
And that's all.
But we still know that, you know, we've done a study both with the police department and with administrative staff of what they are paid in other counties and other cities, similar to us, Jackson, Thomasville, Bruton, and Larry, those are all a lot higher. I mean,
Because, look at Thomasville, you think their revenue is not a lot higher than ours? Do you think Greenville's revenue is not a lot higher than ours?
Evergreen is very comparable to ours, and they're paying a whole lot more than we are. I mean, their Evergreen is probably almost equal to us in terms of their revenue. And I'm just, you know, I am not gonna be, but I think that as a city, we have from time to time, sweep things under the rug, we don't wanna deal with them. And since I've been here, in the 2 years I've been here, I have seen it and have to deal with some of it. I think this is my recommendation, that it's just fair. I want us to be fair and accountable, and I don't think we're being fair and accountable. We've got people on totally different pay scales, and we have a recommendation from a governmental body that is a consultant. And, you know, and we also have to deal with, there's the Equal Pay Act that is part of this. So we've got people that are on comparable levels, we're asking them to have comparable training, and yet we're not compensating them in an equal manner. That's my point.
My problem with the Auburn plan is that, to me, it's not fair, because some people are gonna get $3 an hour, some people are gonna get a nickel. And, I mean, that's just a nightmare. I don't understand how that can be fair. I understand they're looking at each position, but that's an inequity when you don't look at everything. Now, when I got this, I just have to admit, when this letter came, I was shocked. I was disappointed. This is something that's threatening and trying to bully us into doing what you want to do. And I was shocked. I was floored when I got this. By email. Mailed out to the county.
Late yesterday afternoon.
Your averages for department heads don't include all the department heads. They will include the ones that make more than you.
They do.
Tim, Sandra, and Dawn are not in there. They sit in this department head meeting every time with y'all. That's huge statistics. That on top of the threats in there, that really floored me.
What kind of threats? I didn't
Yeah, I
see that.
You don't have-
I didn't either.
She's threatening to sue us pretty much if we don't give her what she wants.
Read the last paragraph.
The equal pay.
It says, per Auburn, I'm currently bringing down the average and also find a violation of the Federal Equal Pay Act of 1963. I would like my salary to be adjusted as close to the average of other department heads for FY 2021. Now, the Fair Payment Act of 1963, it says, the EPA requires as a general rule that men and women who work in jobs that are substantially equal in terms of skill, effort, responsibility, and working conditions shall receive the same pay. The original bill that was proposed required equal pay for comparable work. However, this stipulation was changed before the passage of the bill to equal work. Now, if every department head could do, if every department head was a fire, qualified to be a fire chief, then they ought to make the same thing as fire chief. If you're qualified to be a police chief, you ought to make the same as the police chief. It says absolutely nothing in there about titles.
You know,
And
Larry,
this same email that Al is referencing makes a statement that, you know, I will also represent Monroeville as the Alabama Association of Municipal Clerks and Administrators President in 2021. What value does that create for the city of Monroeville? Zero. It creates zero value. And I'm not too sure that on situations like this, maybe we should look at passing an ordinance or whatever we need to do. If it's not directly related to your job, then you should take vacation pay or whatever. I don't think we'll have to pay for it.
Larry, a lot of that is help, that is a good way to get Monroe's name out there to go. I mean, these conferences bring in business. And we actually,
That's your opinion, my opinion
it's
here,
not
it does
opinion,
not.
it's a fact.
And this letter, this email last night jeopardized the whole salary increase as far as I'm concerned. I'm not gonna vote for somebody that's, you know, you weren't here, but there was a raise given because we were told there was a possibility that a law was gonna be passed, and nobody else got it. Nobody else got that 2,000, all right? Then, so it was never passed, but that money was still given, that raise was still given.
I'm not aware of that.
So, you know, I mean, this right here, I mean, that was uncalled for. Completely.
Send it to everyone.
And I took it as a threat.
Well, I read it, I did not take it as a threat. I took it as an ask. And when you're in a professional position and you feel like you are being underpaid, I would expect to get, I mean, I don't see anything wrong with this. She is making comparisons as to where other people are. And when our former city clerk was here, I know for a fact that her salary was adjusted several times to keep up with the other department heads.
Well, I
And
don't
also
think
it
a
was-
$3,000 increase is a fair. And that's what she's asking.
Well,
She started out at a little over 40, it's a little over 50 now, and wanted to go to 60. That's not fair.
well, I think maybe there's negotiation in there again. I mean, what is fair?
We need to look at it for the whole group and not just one particular group.
For everybody. Yeah.
So we just,
All employees in the group.
With some, you know, Tim has no supervisory. He's not supervising anyone. I guess he's in the department head meetings. Dawn is a contract employee. She's not a department head.
You factor in those other three, that actually brings the average down below what she's making currently.
You're talking about factoring in.
Tim, Sanders, and Jones.
But see, I don't see why you factor in Dawn because she's a contract employee. I mean, I don't know that she's.
I didn't do it without the 28,000. But regardless, to me, that was a very inappropriate way to approach it. I feel like something like that needs to be read 2 or 3 times before it's just shot out. people that make those decisions. It was very threatening. I'll be glad to show you my bucket.
I got this one. I read it. I got it already. I can read it now. I think I got some.
Where you going?
Use it.
Okay. Why don't we wait till you I just urge y'all to look at the jobs people are doing. And I also urge you not to take, I am speaking for her, but I just don't see need to take this as a threat.
Did you read that last paper?
I did.
And then also to retain them for good employees. We got to pay them in order to get good employees.
When they agree to come to work for a certain amount.
Huh?
When they agree to come to work for a certain amount, and they do a good job, and she's done a good job. But this, I would have been for this and for looking at all this, but this really turned me 180 degrees, away from the Auburn plan. I feel like we should just shelve it and maybe for a year come back and study it again and keep what we got and consider the current pay scales we have and explore that, because I'm tired of the Auburn plan being forced to it down the road.
So, the last year we did one time, but we got whatever it is, can't be called a bonus or whatever it is, one time pay thing. When we look at a percentage raise across the board, I think I'll say in part two, go from there. There's points of these things, and I'm in agreement with Mary getting a raise in equivalency up, but the whole plan, there's bits and pieces of it that don't seem like they jive. I agree with you on that. But that was my, if that's a workable approach to give a raise this year of some percentage, and like I said, I'd like to look at researching it for more on that end of it.
Well, I would be in favor of a dollar amount. Y'all know I've said this 100 times, because the folks on the bottom, they get.
Same thing we have.
I would be in favor of doing a dollar amount, whatever that dollar is, or everything.
What, we did a dollar amount or percentage less?
We did one time. We did, well, they didn't want to be in percentage, but it was a one-time check at the end of the year. Correct?
We did a,
Got this. So how much is it that year where I have 10,000 more added to? Is that it?
it was just to be in, it would be equal to the other department heads,
10,000
in addition to, yes, ma'am.
And one other thing that needs to be taken into consideration too, how many people do these folks supervise? 3 versus what, police department 20, fire department,
Now you got,
full-time, part-time, Michael, X number of people.
but you got to look at, okay, the police department, their life on the line. Billy, their life on the line.
That's right.
Y'all, y'all lives on the line, or get if you get a ethic violation or something, she got to keep these books straight. Everybody got to get paid. And if she
Every job has it.
right, right.
It requires a lot of
Right.
education.
Everybody in here is important. They are needed.
Yeah.
You know, one job is not more important than the other one.
Well,
Everybody's needed in these positions.
well, I always didn't think so. Whenever I asked about Mike last, they put him in the department head, that was department head. I mean, you think about it. He is saying that Mary, chief, and the chief, they didn't put him as department head. So they not being equal either.
Well,
Well,
if
we
you
can
look
agree
at-
about it. It's just,
our department heads are a team. And they depend heavily on each other to get things done. And so everyone is equally important to the city, I think. That's,
I thought we just gonna do the police department and fire department, public works, but just those two.
y'all did adjust the pay of police and fire department in 2012.
I'm talking about a couple, about a month when we talked about that.
But we did, we talked about upping the pay for, I think it's 15,
16,
15, yeah.
1648, is that what it was? Or 1640? For the bottom post.
I hate to mention the, public safety stuff in 2012, and I told the Mary actually found that, when they took our head duty pay, $100 pay period, converted it to $1.15 an hour. But, and like, we were talking about today, at the end, the only thing you benefited from that $1.15 an hour is you got to claim overtime off of it and, retirement. If you took $2,600, 26 pay period of $100, that's $2,600. You put a $1.15 times 86 hour pay period, 26 hours, it actually was $14 less here, per pay period. So technically, it wasn't a raise. It looks like it is on paper. You got to make some off overtime. You took one that gave the other. I wasn't involved in that, some Rudolph Barton, and I don't know what the reason was, but they thought it was beneficial to do so, but in the long run, we didn't do anything extra about it. And at that same time, I think everybody got a 3% across the board. The reason why a lot of people leave, like I said, the top is heavy. It's just the people, most of the time, the people on the bottom, you don't hardly ever see anybody from the top leave. That's what we used to be on the bottom. It makes, as long as you stay, it's designed, or it makes you want to stay. But on the retirement fact, and the awesome pay, it's different.
Mr. Melvin, to answer your question, we gave a cost of living analysis raise, October of 2018. It was a 5% cost of living raise across the board to all the employees. So the last pay raise that the employees have had, it was in October of 2018, which does not include any promotions, or new hires that have come in.
So all we got for 2 years, we just 1 year. This is 2020.
Yes, sir.
So last year is when we got this, we get one time whatever.
It was in fiscal year 2020, we gave a one-time bonus.
Yeah.
Or we can't call it a bonus, but a one-time pay raise.
Okay.
But then the last time we had any pay adjustments
Percentage raise.
was October of 2018. And historically, the city of Monroeville every 2 years has given an across-the-board cost of living raise. Right now, with the cost of living analysis calculator, that we're sitting fine as far as what I can tell from the CPI and the Social Security cost of living calculator is that 2020 right now is about 1.6%. So I included that in there, but since 2003, which was when the last classification plan was done, and the pay scales for the public works, the administration, the community house, all non-public safety, we're about 7.3% behind on cost of living since the last pay scale in 2003. As far as 2012, when only the public safety department's pay scales were adjusted, which included the hazard duty pay differences. And that's what Billy went with the letter he showed me today. We talked about it, and it was 1443 was what was the new patrol officer's rate of pay, beginning rate of pay, 1443, which included the $1.15 that was considered for the hazard duty pay. And so in 2012, when that pay scale was adjusted for the public safety departments, we're about 12%. Our cost of living is 14.5%, whereas the CPI and Social Security are hovering at about 12%. So since 2012 and the cost of living analysis that we've given to the employees, we're about 2.5 to 2.9% ahead.
Any of those calculations, did you figure in, the increased insurance cost to the
This
city?
is strictly salaries and rate, hourly
Like
rate.
this year, we're paying what, an additional 5.5%?
$511 per employee.
Yeah.
Whereas last year we paid $484.
So that's like 5.5%, right?
Yes, sir. And our retirement, those figures have gone down about 1%, from our tier 1 and tier 2. In 20, I've got the numbers over here. The 2019 rate was 10.27% in 2019 and 6.97% for tier 1, tier 2. 2020's rate that we paid out in retirement is 11.14% and 8.82% for tier 2. In 2021, the retirement rates have decreased 10.9% and 8.54%. So the retirement rates have decreased, the health insurance premiums have increased. Our SUI has come back and has stated that we don't have to pay into our unemployment insurance for 2021, but as a just in case, I rolled over the 0.12% SUI that we had in last year's budget, just in case there are any unemployment claims that we come through. And then the FICA is 7.65%, and then our health insurance rate, like I said, is $511 for health insurance, and our life insurance policy that we provide for the employees is $9.80 per month per employee, which is a $35,000 life insurance policy that we give to the employees. The workers' comp amount can be adjusted. I did look at the budget, and they have decreased, and our workers' comp is based off of our payroll amounts from the previous year. So we operate in the arrears of the workers' comp plan. So this year, the police department for the workers' comp, I figured their amount for the workers' comp was $31,427.29. So with that, we can decrease the workers' comp amounts to help support the salaries. I've also gone into the one-time pay raises that we historically have given around Christmas time. And based off of the amounts that we did last year and the previous amounts across the board, there wasn't any difference in the department heads or the employees getting anything. I did $75 per employee that we usually give out about the first to second week in December. These include all of the amounts that we had previously discussed in the budget hearings in July with the police department, as far as the increases for the from 1443 to 1648. We also have the investigators and all of we did have some vacancy savings, which is any employee that has left the city and we're not planning to, like the as-needed dispatchers, we're not planning to have any vacancies in those areas. We did have we had a part-time police officer that we're not planning to hire as well. I built the fire department. I helped with Billy Wayne's guidance. We helped build the 24-hour police department shift rotation. And with that, these numbers are adjustable. But when I built this, what I did was I tried to get as close as possible to the amounts that were provided and recommended by Auburn to move the firemen, the engineers, the lieutenants, and the recruits up to a more comparable salary. So with these annual figures over here, I came in and we built the 24-hour pay scale per shift at 106 hours, and I tried to get it as close as possible to what the other annual salary would be if we didn't have 24-hour shifts. Included in that is the 6 hours of overtime per pay period per employee, which brings his grand total to $398,773.72. That was included in the budget information that I put in here, and obviously these are adjustable in each of the spreadsheets, but the police, their amounts are included as per the personnel recommendations and what we did with the in the July hearing. So this is the budget hearing amount, and like I said, we spent $31,427.29 on the workers' comp this year, which was for the previous year's payroll. Therefore, I thought maybe we could adjust the workers' comp amounts from $60,000 to $40,000, which would, like I said, help with the savings and also the support the salaries. But at this point, with the personnel spreadsheet that you all were given a copy of, I have included the adjustments and the salaries based off of the department head's recommendations, Auburn's recommendations, and where we sit with our budget. And we're sitting right now at $11,639.61 under budget for fiscal year 2021. At this point right now, our general revenues in this current year's budget, we are at 105%, but that also includes the CARES Act amount. So we're already $307,000 over on our revenues.
That's without September.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. But here's where the CARES Act went into our miscellaneous revenue account. And right now, our sales tax is $2,915,035.86. So we'll finish the years out strong. All we're needing is $84,964 to meet the $3 million budgeted amount for revenues.
They're on the court, they're gonna make that person full-time in the court system, or have to go to-
I don't know. That'd be up to Judge Coxwell to make that.
but why? You can-
They're not, they have their own fund, their own account fund, and I haven't received any budget information from the court department.
You need to add it to our budget.
The general fund budget?
Yeah. I mean, I thought that he won't come and talk to us about that when he's gonna do that. We haven't seen him.
No, sir, I haven't.
And we don't pay his salary,
Sorry?
we don't pay his salary.
His salary comes out of the court department budget. It's under contracted salaries.
That's not, there's about 2 employees over there.
They come out of the court department budget as well. It's how it's been set up for years.
So we have anything to do with hang that person full-time.
Sir?
We don't have anything to do with that, hang that person full-time in our budget.
It would be not in the general fund budget, no, sir, but the court department and Judge Coxwell, he can advise on that position.
I think that needs to be a full-time position in 4 years or 3 years now. Still a part-time position. Just look at them, and stop too about the matter on killing.
In the paperwork, sure, really.
Yes, sir. That's to keep in line with the retirement and the health insurance policies that the city doesn't dictate, but 20 hours to receive health insurance, 30 hours for retirement benefits.
All the retirees and everything else that we've had this year, a few, not many. Now, you say another budget, but now compared to the last year, I'm quite sure that some of this you've given us, what's the difference in projected 2020, 2021 versus this year, as far as increase in salary?
This is, all right, well, this is the current, this is the difference. But if you want the, I mean, I think there's a better snapshot of just budget entire, where we've gone from. This was the,
Why, with the amounts of numbers that we've heard of increases, how can it only be that much different, little difference?
because of the vacancy savings.
Okay. I don't either.
But
Retirees are making.
But budget to budget, it was like $127,000. There's 120 something. I'm not sure, 27. The 12,000 is what we were given to start with. And then, but we went budget to budget, and it's over $100,000.
Any other comments here? How do y'all want to proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
Why don't you get, Tim Sanders on top of this, understanding this, but just got it, I know she didn't have that name, so he-
Because of what was recommended when I spoke with the group at Auburn, they said that the positions, the 4 positions, 1 were all appointed. 2, those levels of certifications and education that are required. In all those positions, that those are the most comparable positions together, so that's,
so that's one.
yes, ma'am, that's why I included them, and didn't include the other ones. And we're also all in the same pay scale group, in the same grade, I'm sorry if I offended you and made it felt like a threat. It was not my intention. It was just a consideration.
Considerations. Requests are good. It's worthy to be read again before we see them. You have to look at things like the week of service, you have to look at scope of work, what's required. There's a lot of things to look at and all. I think that's, at the end, provide the valuable services.
I'm not gonna vote for a budget that gives some people a nickel an hour and some people $4, $5, $10,000. I'm just not gonna do it. I think we need to drop back and forth.
In the pay scale consideration, that is a separate issue from from the other. I mean, the pay scale has been figured in here. That's
Yeah.
where,
So I'm saying, don't figure it in.
well, we spent almost this whole year talking about it. I don't understand why we would not.
I mean, Mary's saying that the pay scale Auburn's recommending is not good for her. She's not good with that.
No, that was just put me on the pay scale, it's to put everybody on the pay scale in the specific spots.
And they recommended 51, what did they do?
Just to put me on the new pay scale. And then they said that their recommendation was also to get me into the equal pay of the other department heads.
But you don't care again, you don't fight fire, you work in office.
Well,
That's why they got it like, that's why they put you in that scale, because you don't fall upon the two chiefs.
Still, her job is just vital.
I don't, yeah, she don't wear no blue, she don't fight no fire.
I know she does it, but what I'm saying, her job is important, just like the bulletproof and the firefighter.
Everybody, the man that cleaned the streets out there, he think he work out there, he did everything, he think he shouldn't make $30 an hour. Right? The people who clean up this city around here, just as important as everybody in this room. They make
That's,
the less
okay,
money.
that's exactly what I'm saying, everybody is important.
No, not by these pay scales now.
You go out in the industry and see how many department heads make the same thing. It don't work that way in the real world.
Everybody, in every department, he is not gonna be making the same thing.
But we look down on our bottom people, that's where we lose the people that, you go back in the time I've been in office to now, we done lost so many people on the bottom. Only people we lost on the top is the ones that were asked to leave, or they resigned, or they retired, that's it. Since I've been here, we always treat the bottom people like a red-headed stepchild, go back and look.
Well, Anthony, the pay scale is going to help
The
those
top,
people on the bottom. It gives them, we just talked
Yes,
about
ma'am.
that, entry level.
that's what I'm telling you, they probably been at entry level for 30 years, because we don't move up, we go have people on the outside instead of moving people up. We bring people in, they don't know to move up, that's why we leave them losing people. That's the issue. We said we're gonna promote within our department. We don't do that, we have people on the outside. I raised hell about that 4 years ago or 3 years ago. You wasn't here.
No, I wasn't, I'm not aware of it. See, I
Because
don't think, we haven't lost that many people since I've been here.
you wasn't here when all of it happened. We should promote within. That's why we don't keep people. We go have people on the outside and leave other people on the bottom where they at. That's why I don't make my leave too. We just getting rid of somebody else.
But Anthony, we require certain certifications, we have educational requirements for some of these jobs.
But these guys more than qualified. The people that hired, what you hired on 3 or 4 years ago, they just as important as the other one. You can't even gonna tell me you don't know. I know one about it.
I mean, I just don't think we have time to negotiate and work all this out and stuff out before this, needs to be closed. So I think what we need to do is set some time next year to go forward and look at, or if we need to back up, take the Auburn plan, maybe look at, have a council committee that places people where they need to be in the pay scale for the Auburn recommendations, and look at all that, fresh.
I agree.
I think we need to study it and make sure it's done right. I'm just not comfortable with the way it's, it's in there now, because it's, like I say, too much discrepancy between what some people get versus what other people get.
Well, I personally feel like we've wasted a year looking, we've looked at this for a year, we've even looked at each job and what the increase.
We went 6 months if we didn't look at it, since this virus started. All we looked at was pretty much before that.
I mean, we didn't really go down line by line and item by, job by job.
I thought we had.
I mean,
It was already done. When we did the Zoom with some people back there in the back room, everything was already done. We didn't have no say so in it. It was already done, cut and dry.
Well, it was because it was a recommended step plan that, and you've been on this, you've had a step plan before. I mean, it's the same thing we had, they just, you know, it was just adjusted for cost of living and, just current pay scales.
As far as I'm concerned, the Auburn plan was, the intent was to force it down our throat without very minimal or very little discussion. I agree with Al, we need to drop back, hunt, and look at it. Like, I don't think we can.
So here, we need to get this ready by October.
Yes, ma'am?
It ain't gonna happen.
Well, we go on and, we can still approve the budget, I mean, and do like Al say.
And I'm not opposed to looking at an adjustment, you know, on our existing scale for these employees. Yeah, I need to consider that. I'm not opposed to that. I just don't think the Auburn plan is ready to move forward.
One thing I noticed on the fire department, I don't have it in front of me to quote it, but in regard to what you were saying, it's like on this new scale, my increase was like less than 30 cents. But firefighters were getting like $1 or something. So there was, the lower level was getting boosted up on, I don't know if all departments were that way, but it wasn't us.
Yours was 0.1%.
Yeah, or maybe said her, well, still, but the officers and firefighters are getting a better percentage. Or,
That was in the second version, I think.
well, I'm not
The
sure.
first version, it doesn't almost 15 cents.
I just didn't remember seeing that, you know, the lower levels were getting more than the upper levels in that particular plan. I don't know which version it was.
The first version was to put everybody on the pay scale. They had said, just find where it's closest to their current salary and put them in the block that's above that or in a similar block. So that was the first version. The second version was when we all met with the department, I met with the department heads and we reviewed employee by employee and what they recommended to promote and give their employees on the pay scale. So this second version is a collaborative effort between the department heads and myself to make sure that those employees were going to be in line with the comps of the areas, with Jackson, with Bruton, with Thomasville, with other municipalities, our side, and where we're losing employees too. So this second version is based off of the salaries of the comps and then also where the department heads feel their employees need
Is
to.
this the second version that was passed out today?
Yes, sir.
All
And
right,
it was also given during the budget hearings.
all right, Billy Wayne was 0.1%, the next guy was 1.4, the next was 2.3. There was one that was, was 0, 2.3, 1.0.
Because he received a promotion in this year's budget.
But why,
He was promoted to lieutenant.
why we don't, she should get the raise too. I mean,
Well, I just don't think we can do it between now and the first October. I agree with that. Yes, we could look at the raise, but not this plan.
Okay, let me know how much and I'll build it for you. I've tried building a 3.5% raise instead of based off of what our current salaries are. There's a $1 raise. I've done this before when we did, I think our 2018 budget, 2019 budget, where we had comparisons, but I figured I'd wait to get some direction from you all tonight as to which way you want to go. So I can do our current salary. This is with the new pay scale. This is the 3.5% only, a $1 raise, a $500 bonus or one-time pay raise. I can adjust that to just doing the one-time pay raise only or what the county provides their employees and their department heads. Well, they're our neighbors.
I know.
So I just haven't finished it because I didn't know exactly which direction you all wanted to go. But I can finish this and email it to you by the next council meeting, which is next Tuesday.
Could we do the flat $1 last year?
No, we haven't done a $1 raise. The council hasn't done that since before.
We just did the one time.
One-time pay raise. This would be a $1 raise across for every employee to get a $1 raise. But I think the last time they did just an incremental dollar amount was cost of living sheet.
The 5%.
5% was, yeah, the last cost of living analysis that we did to catch us up to the CPI and the social security cost of living indexes.
I don't like this thing.
I'd be in favor of both of them, you know, to figure dollar on the current. Legislature.
And we can always go back and adjust, you know, look at it next year and see. What we need to do, Mayor, if y'all gonna do it with the department, I think the city council needs to be involved in this stuff. So we blindsided, I mean, you can't do something in a couple of hours. Y'all been working on this for a long time, but when we talk to the department head about the money and stuff, I think that some of us, we need to be committed, some of us need to be involved in it, so we know what's going on.
I thought each department head was gonna come to us and tell us what they needed, what they went over. Now, that's the reason why we got each department head here, I'm assuming, so they can tell us what they want.
But it's already different. I'm talking about the phone, and she said I didn't talk to them, this person I'll get, that person I'll get. We need to be involved in it, we owe the money.
But Anthony, we saw it. I mean, we've got, we
We want to be involved in placing them on the
Yeah,
pay schedules.
That's what I'm trying to say, you know, they don't understand what I'm saying, so we need to be involved in it. We're not involved in stuff, and we the one that's over the money, we want to make decisions over the money, but we're not involved in it, so I think that going forward, that we need to be involved in stuff like that. He won't have all this.
Just have a blank slate when you guys fill in the bubbles.
We don't mind, yeah, I don't want to do that, I can get budget this year for 2021, so 2022. Yes, ma'am.
Well, Thelma, let me just say that I have done my best. And I think everyone in here has done their best. So I don't know what this is about the next administration. I wish them very well. And all I want is to see us be accountable. Our employees are our most valuable asset. And I think we need to be fair. And that's, we need to be fair.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, to make it fair, we need to be more involved in stuff like this, because we put for the end of the year. We need to sit down with the department heads too. That's how you be fair. I mean, that's the only way you can be fair, you know, more involved in stuff like that. I mean, she said she sat down with them, we would like to sit down with them also, and have this conversation, make sure that, you know, we're on the same page. That's all I'm asking. I mean, you don't have to get an attitude that I brought that up. I'm just telling you, that's what we need to do. That's just a suggestion.
Well, I just think communication is key. If you when you get something, you disagree with it. All it takes is a phone call to say, I don't agree with this. I mean, in a friendly manner. And that's what we're missing here is dialogue. I mean, it's, when you have notice on things, just call.
I'm quite sure Mary spent a lot of time in this.
A lot.
All over it. And tried to, and without, some of it is easy, I don't want to let her do it and not have the input and complain sometimes you got questions. And I'm not comfortable with it, but I see the work that's put into it and the value of that. And that's what I want her to do, because I don't have time to do it. But I don't think there's parts of it I'm comfortable with, parts of it I'm not, and I'm not sure what it would take. I'm not quite, yes, part of it is some maybe, but, again, I want to do this for employees, and I understand we need to raise, we can afford, to do something, and, we need to do something.
Well, then we just need to find what y'all are comfortable with, you know, what percentage that is. The pay scale, I guess you're gonna have to look at it.
I said drop back on the old pay scale. This is my opinion. I said just give about $1 comfortable, they just want to be. Okay. Yeah, I don't say much. I said give about $1 comfortable. It's up to everybody. If I'm just one, I'm just one person.
I'll build it for you.
What about what percentage are we down? With the,
For the cost of living?
yeah,
Um,
where are we with that?
well, okay, so since 2003, we're
No, I'm
seven
not talking about that, I'm talking about since the last.
at 5%. We are holding steady at a little over 2% above.
So we 2% above.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I was gonna say,
And that's
if
based
if
on-
we were in the minus, I was gonna say figure on that percentage and the dollar, you know.
Right. But since 2003, the cost of living since 2003, so going back to the 2003 pay scale that was not adjusted as cost of livings were applied, since 2003, we're 7.3% behind, which those were the costs of, anybody that was on the pay scale from the 2003 pay scale that didn't get adjusted in 2012 with the new pay scale, we're 7.3% behind.
But that doesn't figure in cost of the increased insurance cost that the city plays.
This is
Pays and all
strictly
that.
hourly rates. Yes.
But yeah,
People got promoted or.
right. I would say the dollar. You know,
The CPI is 2.3, so we could look at 3% and the dollar and.
We're above, but now she's saying we're
We're already above that.
Yeah.
Since
Well,
2012. So if we go off the 2012 pay scale and the cost of living index and Social Security cost of living index, we've issued 14.5% cost of living raises since 2012. And the current cost of living from 2012 to current is 12%. So we're 2.5% ahead of the cost of living since
Yeah,
2012.
I was gonna say if we were behind, we
Right.
might catch it up. But since we-
But we're behind on anyone that ever was brought in, hired at the 2003 pay scale. Me, my staff, the Public Works Department, anybody that was hired off the 2003 pay scale, we're 7.3% behind.
I'd go along with the dollar, figuring on the dollar and see where that goes. If somebody else got a percentage idea, whatever.
That may want to be more than what we're talking about here.
I'll prepare it for you all. Thank you.
Other than that, do we have any?
The other things that are in this, vehicle or anything, we can't act on anything without a council meeting, but we discuss any of this stuff like with Sandra's vehicle or not, or,
For next year's budget,
you know, I mean, I was in here, I didn't know if we needed that, something we needed, in the work session, to discuss that or
well, we're here to only discuss the budget.
not. Okay.
But for the next council meeting, for the work session, I can add that to the agenda.
We should give us some, we have some figures
Okay.
on what it's gonna cost.
So, what about, the 300,000 or so that's in with the park? Where is that?
It's in the YMCA, the parks.
No, the,
Thanks, fair play.
Oh, that's in capital improvement, but that's an infrastructure project.
Yeah.
Hold on a second, let me just minimize some of this so that you can read it easier. we haven't had an opportunity to build our capital improvements budget. That's why the information's blank, but as far as where we are in our current budget, we've paid the engineers the $51,300 as prescribed by the contract that they wanted us to build the plans, I guess, for the, and do the bids. And then also for another item, fire equipment. So we reserved $250,000 in this current year's budget for the fire truck. So next year we won't have to, we can roll this amount over our capital improvements budget and our ABC budget, our rollover accounts. So the $250,000 from this year's budget will act as a rollover into next year's budget. So we don't have to budget the full $550,000. We would just technically have to budget $300,000 since we rolled over $250,000 from this year's budget.
And what about the, where's the, Fanfare Park up there?
We don't have it, we haven't built the 2021 budget for capital improvements. And this doesn't have to be, the capital improvements and the ABCs and the other ones, the Code of Alabama just says general fund has to be adopted by October 1st. So capital improvements and the ABC budgets, those can be adopted after October 1st.
So your best guess on the lake project and the fire truck, we're gonna be able to do those and the police vehicles without borrowing money?
Yes, sir. Because this year's budget was 2.1 million, and the half-cent sales tax, we're exceeding that as well. And we should finish our current fiscal year under budget to have another surplus that we can help support the capital improvements account and our economic development accounts.
And like we talked about, I don't think we need to show 500,000 for the lake project. I think we need to show what the deal is. I think that's one thing we agree.
One of the very few.
The only thing in that is we have discussed about widening that will be above and beyond the bid.
Well, that's also something we talked about that we figured you probably need to.
What'd you say, Alan? What was
I am very strong in the fact of having a parking spot,
that? Oh, well, yeah,
and that's above and beyond the
That's above
bid of this. So,
How much you think?
I don't know. I don't know how much you can put in on it.
but you know,
About 10,000.
no, but they know that.
Yeah, they know that, but it's not in that amount, so therefore, it would be more than what the bid is.
Right. There's
No,
also.
we haven't discussed relocating the ducks and the geese yet.
No, but
Maybe the relocation plan on
Give
that.
Paul Shelley that job.
Huh?
Give Paul Shelley that job.
Yes, ma'am. I put that in there. I received that from Kenny.
You know, we also had talked about the possibility of a sidewalk project, which that would also come out of the capital improvements, but we don't have any.
But that, if we did, it would probably not be implemented next year anyway. We need to take over a year to go through the grant process and everything.
Yeah. The planning. Yeah. I was just reminded.
And I don't like the idea of going by a golf course if they can't make it wide enough to work there.
Yeah, I agree. See how it falls out.
More people walk on South Alabama over here from Big Weekly and that area for safety purposes there. How all that is too.
Yeah. So, good project.
I got a question on this, on these two cars that the YMCA took over. How much money have we saved in 3 years by them taking over? Are we saving, are we losing, or what are we doing?
Sure. I put it up in the last year's.
40,000.
We saving 40,000?
This is the budget history on the park. And then 189,000 is what was requested from the YMCA to oversee our parks. And so it's it's in line with, what we've spent historically in the past on both parks. I don't know why 2018 was, oh, that's because we budgeted 172,000, but Michael, do you remember why it was less? The parks budget in 2018?
Hire somebody? No, that don't say right. That don't-
Really?
Well, was the other one including the pools? And then you got 2018, but why had the pools?
Here's the pools budget.
Is that the pools?
This is historically what the city has spent on the pools. And then the park.
When 19, I see 18.
We didn't have any, there was no,
2019, yeah, we amended the budget.
in 2018, didn't we lose people that were part of the parks? And that's why it's different?
Yeah. That,
That's a salary, isn't it? Yes.
So if you look up here, the fiscal year 18-19 year to date, and then the 18-19 budget.
yeah, we did go ahead and move Tony over to public works. That one guy, we moved him over to public works, and we took that money, the salary out of there, out of parks, we could go to public works. That was for a few months. That didn't.
That's what it is.
Your pools is 25,000 higher. That may have been in parks previously.
Well, the
No, I
pool
think-
was higher, they painted the pool, there was a lot of work done on the
They're
pool.
talking about different budget, right? Come on, capital improvement.
The pool renovations?
Yeah.
Yeah, that came out, but that was with the Y, when the Y redid the pool. Remember they paint the Closet pool?
Now, I think in 2018, the salary, if you look back, the salary may have been higher on the lifeguard because we actually, opened up earlier for the, Y to do the swim classes and stuff, and then you had the aerobics, and then some of the other stuff that we had, swim lessons and all that. You actually had more on the payroll, I think, more hours figured in there.
So the city pay their payroll, or, I mean, how does it work? I mean,
It's an appropriation, like what we give to the chamber. So we will give that appropriation out of the general fund to the YMCA, and then they use that for the operations and management of the pools and parks.
They do their own payroll.
Yes, sir.
Just for clarification, you give them a appropriation for the parks, and then you give them another appropriation for the pool.
Yes,
Is that
sir.
what you're saying? So it's two. You're adding together.
So, but they take that and pay the salary.
And the maintenance of the parks. So when they do the, they have the utilities, the water, so the water and electricity. He didn't break it down as to the specifics as to, I mean, I can request it from Ricky if he
Yeah.
wants to break down our.
I get that, I would like, I get people go question, I can't really explain to them, but nobody knows what
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he still had to do the maintenance on the equipment too. Now.
Mhm.
That comes out of it.
I was trying to see if there's something out here on the losing, or that's what I was trying to figure.
Basically a wash, what it looks like.
Yes, sir.
And
It's comparable.
And Mike doesn't have the aggravation. to do with all that stuff. I mean, it's pressure off of us, so when someone sends complaints, to we can direct them another direction than us. So it's kind of, that's the biggest advantage out of it.
We still haven't did anything since you took over. Trying to make it over there, and I don't think it's over that time, I'm talking about this past year, but it hasn't changed. Some of the points, everything's still the same, no change.
You mean with the parks? Well, they made some considerable improvements.
But I'm not talking about improving, I'm talking about functions,
Oh, functions.
Like activities.
activity, functions, whatever you want to call them.
Well, I think this year, because of COVID, it's kind of been a.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But the other 2 or 3 years, still haven't, and it can change, when you see it.
Well, they've got a lot more programs out there. I mean, the participation has been up. In terms of,
And park.
yeah, at the parks. Now, this year, because of the swimming lessons and everything, they were not able to do the swim lessons that they did last year. But,
Smart.
well, actually, they did do, they
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
they did, yeah, they just did them. And here you can build in the dollar raise and,
Sure.
yeah. We'll get a final.
Do the dollar, do the cost of living comparison.
I will.
You need a motion?
Do we, we're in the work session, I guess? We can sleep.
I get by with it, anyway. I motion we turn this.
Okay, thank y'all.